Good morning. Don't you look swell today? Actually, swollen.
Ah.
So have some. There's a fresh pot on the table. Seriously, you look like hell. Your hair is sticking straight up like a... Oh, it always does that. Never mind.
Ha, ha.
Did you dream about the fire and the hang guy and that lion thing last night?
Leopard, not lion. Did you get anything on Malia Gedde?
Well, I did get her address, but you're a little out of your league here, big fella. The Geddes own 3 local hospitals, just to name a few of their assets. They run in very high circles.
Did you get an address?
I got the address. I suppose this has nothing to do with the fact that Malia Gedde is incredibly gorgeous. I should have known you wouldn't go for a rich, ugly socialite.
And that address is...
Hey! Far be it from me to postpone your total humiliation. It's 557 West England. That's a garden district, a state city.
That's all I wanted to know. And yes, my dear, Malia Gedde is the most dangerous-looking diversion I've ever seen. Ouch!
Aye.
Today's newspaper is on the counter. Times-Picayune, dated June 19, 1993. A front-page article describes the most recent of the Voodoo murders. Gabriel scans it but learns nothing new. The article reiterates that the voodoo aspect of the crimes is fake. Gabriel shivers. It looked real enough to him. Elsewhere, there's an article about the history of Jackson Square, called La Plaza d'Armas. Under French rule, it was used for executions, firing squads, hanging, even impalement and breaking on the wheel. Yikes! Of course, these days it's mostly a hangout for tourists, street musicians and local artists. Gabriel also scans the Aquarius horoscope for the day. Chances of a dark star rising on this day. Do not trust your instincts.
I feel a dark star rising, all right. I'll be back later.
Have fun.
There's a photocopy machine. The electrician has left his tools behind. He must plan on returning. Gabriel can't. There's a temperature gauge on the wall near Mosley's office. The security cage has been removed by the electrician.
Hey, hey, hey. Knight, come on in. Whew, it's hot in here. Dang, the air conditioning must be on the blink. Are you hot? Man,
Unfortunately, the only dial...
Can I ask you about some stuff? You're the writer. Ask away. Have you ever called the hair club for men? I'd rather have no hair than your hair, Knight. So how'd you ever find anything in this office? It looks like ground zero. Hey, I get my job done. I'm a detective, not Betty Crocker. How about getting me some coffee? What am I, your slave? Hey, I'm working my butt off here. Yeah, fine. Some people are never satisfied. I think I'll just borrow this badge. Hey, what are you doing with my coat? Nothing. I thought I saw something crawling on it. Just drink this. Thanks. Tons. I mean it.
The suit doesn't... Gabriel can't get inside unless he's invited. This door. This door. This door. Gabriel can't get in. The door. The steps are.
May I help you? I'd like to see Malia Gedde, please. I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you. I do have official business. Really? Please tell me the nature of your business. My name is Detective Mosley. I'm here on police business. Really? How interesting. Wait here I'll inform Miss Gedde. Miss Gedde will see you. Right this way. Miss Gedde will be down shortly. Thank you.
What can I do for you, Detective?
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Miss Gedde?
I assume that's what you're here for, Detective.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? Why would you want to know about that, Detective? It's rather silly, isn't it?
There's nothing silly about the voodoo murders.
But that voodoo is faked. That's what I've read in the papers.
That's what the papers say, all right.
But you're not convinced?
No, frankly, I'm not. The police department isn't known for its imagination.
Oh. Well, I can see that your imagination is considerable.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders? Only what I read in the papers.
And what do you read in the papers?
I'm sure you know much more about it than I, Detective.
Tell me about your life in New Orleans.
The Gedde family came to New Orleans in 1800. We worked very hard to get where we are. On the other hand, we've done a lot for this community.
I can believe that. You're doing a lot for me right now. Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm afraid I quite abhor them.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No, I'm afraid I can't help you with that, Detective.
Tell me about yourself.
I suppose I don't really have a choice. What do you want to know, Detective?
What kind of things interest you?
I don't have a lot of free time, but I do appreciate the arts. Opera, symphony, ballet, fine art. If you look around, you'll see that we collect African art, for example.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
It is, Detective. It means a great deal to me.
Do you have a career?
A career? Being the head of the Gedde family is a 24-hour-a-day job. We have many holdings and many responsibilities, financial and otherwise. The management of our business affairs and properties leaves me with time for little else.
Poor little rich girl?
Believe it or not, Detective, wealth does have its price.
Tell me about your family.
The Geddes? We're a very private family.
How many people are there in your family?
Well, my mother just passed away.
I am sorry.
So am I. She was a magnificent woman. We were very close. I was an only child.
And your father?
I never knew him.
It's hard to believe that any man would leave a woman like you. Or like your mother must have been.
He did not leave, Detective. But that's really none of your concern.
I'm sorry. Go on.
There are, of course, other Geddes in the city. I have a large, extended family.
I see. Do you have a husband? A boyfriend?
I'm very independent, Detective. The women in my family have always preferred it that way.
So, you've never been married?
No, and I never will be.
What about children?
Yes, that is likely. Someday.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
I do a lot of charity work around the city, primarily in the prison and reform system. I'm not a professional sociologist, but it does interest me.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
As you wish, Detective.
Can you tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could, but I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake, and I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Excuse me, but your eyes are really distracting. I don't think I've ever seen a color quite like that brownish gold. It's so deep and rich. Man, if I could bottle that, I'd make a fortune.
Thank you, Detective. That's an interesting observation, though probably not relevant to your case.
A good detective never knows what might be relevant, Miss Gedde.
Then you must be truly exceptional at your job. I think this has gone on long enough. You're not really a detective, are you?
Who, me? Well, I am on this case, Miss Gedde.
I saw you at the lake yesterday. I thought you must be with the police since you were there, but you don't act like a police officer. Besides, I'm rather certain that the other man said his name was Mosley.
All right, you caught me. I'm not with the police. My name is Gabriel Knight. I'm a writer working with Detective Mosley on a book.
Well, Mr. Knight, now that we've established who you are, perhaps you can tell me the real reason you're here.
Well, I am researching the book, and I thought you might have seen or heard something at the lake.
I don't like liars, Mr. Knight.
Okay, you're right. I really just wanted to see you again. You can be mad at me if you want, but I swear I've never done anything like this before.
Mr. Knight, you've lied about your identity and wasted my time with meaningless questions. If it weren't vaguely flattering, I'd really be angry. You're lucky I don't call the real police. I think you should go, Mr. Knight.
Malia, wait. If you just give me a chance.
I've wasted enough time. I'll have Robert show you out. Robert? Show Mr. Knight out, please.
I most certainly will. Thank you very much. I had a lovely time. Ah, shit. Could I get a lucky dog, please?
Not now, I'm busy.
An unambitious person? In the 90s? Ah, amazing.
You dance pretty well for a kid.
Give me some money, then.
I don't have any.
Don't block the view, mister.
What would a little... That wouldn't be interrogating the little boy.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Yep, I mind, all right.
Why?
Because A, I don't know anything, and B, I'm busy.
Oh. I have this gift certificate.
I'm busy.
It's good for $20 at St. George's Books, finest bookstore in New Orleans.
Really? I'll have to check it out sometime.
You could take this gift certificate with you, if you'll give me a lucky dog.
A lucky dog for a $20 gift certificate? Well, sure. Here you go.
You wouldn't like a lucky dog by any chance?
Would I? Thanks, mister. You got any special requests, let me know.
And artists is taking advantage of the fine weather.
Nice drawing of the cathedral.
Thanks.
It's really precise.
Well, I'm an architectural student, actually. It's good practice. Hey, come back here! Hey! Oh, unbelievable. Rotten luck!
You mentioned something about special requests.
Yeah, you got one?
Can you fit through the bars around the statue?
Can I? Just watch me.
Good. There's something in there I can't quite reach. Come on. Can you reach that piece of paper?
Sure thing. Here you go.
Thanks, kid.
Yep. See ya.
This is the last page of inventory. It's a technique.
This belongs to you, doesn't it?
My drawing. How'd you get it?
Oh, it was a bit of a squeeze, but I hate to see you lose your work. I lost my only copy of a manuscript once.
Well, you saved my butt. Let me know if I can ever do the same for you, huh?
Gabriel.
Say, do you think there's anything you can do with these patterns?
What do you need?
Is there any way you can reconstruct the whole pattern from these partials?
The pattern is probably circular, and there's some repetition in the elements. What is this from, anyway?
You'd never believe me.
Okie dokie. Well, there's... I think there's an area missing. If you could get me any more of these...
I'll see what I can do.
What would the art... What would... What...
I have another one of those patterns.
Really? Let's see. Yeah, this is great. I think there's enough overlap now. I'll give it my best shot. I'll show you what I come up with tomorrow.
Great. I appreciate it.
Welcome, my friend.
Hello?
I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I will be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that. Could I ask you some questions?
That is why I am here.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo? Or the voodoo currently practiced in the city?
What can you tell... What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper? I know that they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
What do you think of New Orleans?
It is the only city in the United States as far as I am concerned.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum's snake, Mr. Knight. They are beautiful creatures, do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No, I have not.
Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No. The museum does not make me a rich man, but my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Let us say that I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I am originally from the West Indies myself, you know.
Really? What brought you to New Orleans?
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
Just tell me anything.
I am a vegetarian.
Really? I can't imagine living without meat.
That must be the hunter in you, Mr. Knight.
Actually, I can't think of a thing.
Then, let us discuss something else.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, Voodoo is a grassroots religion formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importing of slaves from that region.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo, and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in their religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I, personally, am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo. But it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Do you know Malia Gedde?
Should I?
She referred me to your museum.
Many have read about our museum in the newspapers, Mr. Knight.
That's a good point. Is there anything else I should know about hoodoo?
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Hoodoo is of interest to those who study rural folk traditions, but it will not aid you in understanding true voodoo.
Reminds me of a book critic for the New York Times. He's got more hair than Mosley. Damn, I've always wanted a skeleton with a bowl on its head.
The back wall displays various voodoo items, such as a feathered African mask. A beaded gourd is on display.
Goodbye, Dr. John.
Come back again.
Hello there, got a sec?
What you need, boy?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Ain't it just awful, them finding those bodies with voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody's trying to cover their tracks is all.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Seem like everybody want to visit New Orleans at least once in their lives, and they love the cemetery tour. I see tourists in here every day of the year.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them ain't poisonous, of course.
Have you ever heard the word Schottenjäger?
I don't know what you talking about.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis No. 1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, of course, but a big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers, you know. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound they don't know what they doing.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery No. 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins would float right out of their graves. Them dead would go floating right down into the water. Course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice.
The marks are reddish in color and reminds Gabriel of crosses. They look like they've been here a few days at least.
I want a copy of these strange marks.
Near the Laveau tomb is a piece of red brick. Undoubtedly a cast-off from spiritual graffiti writers.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Bonjour, Monsieur Walker.
Oh, bienvenue, Madame Casino. Comment ça va? How you be feeling today?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Walker, I'm certain someone's buried a sleep note bag somewhere near my steps. I haven't slept a wink in weeks.
Oh, don't that beat all? Well, you're gonna need some easy night candles then.
Do you think that would help? I do hope you're right. I said 3 rosaries this morning for Our Lady's intervention.
Rosaries are good, sure enough. But you burn those candles too and you gonna whip any old no-sleep gree-gree, I tell you for sure.
Very well, Mr. Walker. Put them on my account and send them round to my house. Oh, and there's another thing. I didn't catch her at it, but I know Mrs. Lefebvre put stomachache powder in my tea at the last meeting of the Creole Grand Dames. Oh, I paid in misery.
You put 9 pinheads up in a little box, add a pinch of graveyard dust, and put it under her front porch step. That'll turn the trick back on Mrs. Lefebvre, and she'll be the one with the bellyache. I have the pins and the dust right here if you want them.
If the Blessed Virgin will grant me her protection, I'll be safe from these practitioners of evil.
Oui, madame. Though it don't hurt to be proactive none neither, now does it?
Naturellement, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Mais non, madame. It is nothing. Au revoir.
Au revoir, Monsieur Walker.
The signs say, Special Saint Jean Eve, Lagnappe, free bottle of lover come back to me oil, or master gambling oil, with every purchase over $50.
Hi there. Is this your store?
This is a Dixieland drugstore and I own it, me. Name's Walker, Willie Walker.
Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Ask what you want, I'll answer what I want.
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Cabrit Sans Cor.
What did you say?
Nothing. Those killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I've lived here all my life, me.
Do you know anything about snakes?
What kind of snakes?
The kind they use in voodoo?
Pythons and boas. So I've heard.
Really? Do you have one?
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year in voodoo.
What goes on exactly?
I couldn't say.
What did you mean when you said Cabrit Sans Cor?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Man, I don't even know what language that is.
That customer of yours, the little old lady?
Customer?
The woman I saw in here. Madame Cazonou, you called her.
I don't talk about my customers to men who come in off the street.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
The glass jars contain a number of things Gabriel can't identify.
And
In this case are super concentrated fixing oils and packages of pins. The mask appears to be made from a real crocodile head.
hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Could I ask you some more questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
Do you have any idea what Cabrit Sans Cor means?
I fear my French is not all it should be, Mr. Knight.
Tell me more about current voodoo.
There are many voodooians in New Orleans. They often do business selling gree-gree, telling fortunes, providing luck, and occasionally misfortune. Perhaps you would like to meet a voodooian. We refer those who seek a deeper experience with voodoo to a local practitioner, Magenta Moonbeam.
Sure, I'd love to meet her.
She lives on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine. I will call her and tell her you might stop by.
Great, thanks. Goodbye, Dr. John.
Come back again.
Welcome, Seeker. You must be the one Dr. John called me about.
I guess so. My name is...
Wait, Gabriel Knight?
You're too quick for me.
Actually, Dr. John told me. You have come to the right place, Mr. Knight. Tell me how I can help.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
My practice is mainly selling charms and potions with magic power, such as gree-gree and voodoo oils. You know, everything from unrequited love to wandering spouses to winning a lawsuit. But my spells and charms are powerful, and they work.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Why, that has nothing to do with me and my clientele. But I can tell you that you should stay as far from it as possible. There is badness there. Very bad.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is the center of voodoo practice in the United States.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes?
You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know. Quite deadly in the wrong hands. I was trained by one of the great voodoo queens to learn how to hypnotize and handle snakes.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? It is the greatest night of the voodoo year. There is always a traditional conclave on St. John's Eve. Most of our voodoo churches these days hold functions in the church hall, but in the old days they had ceremonies out in the wild, and they wore animal masks and had a huge bonfire and dancing. I used to go when I was an apprentice, sometimes in the swamp, you know, Bayou St. John, sometimes at the Lake Pontchartrain.
Do you have any idea what Cabrit Sans Cor means?
No, I don't.
Tell me about the animal masks.
I saw them used once or twice when I was younger, but you don't see them much anymore. They are too close.
Too close to what?
Just bad karma.
Have you ever heard the word Schottenjäger?
I don't know anything about that.
Tell me about yourself.
Yes? What would you like to hear?
How'd you get into this business?
I trained in the voodoo arts for many years with the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Who's she?
You have never heard of her? For shame! I can see you know little of the world of magic.
I'm beginning to get that impression, yes. What kind of people come to see you?
Seekers after the truth, such as yourself.
Do you do anything else?
I am a voodoo yen, and that is plenty. It takes much spiritual effort.
How many voodoo yens are there?
No one knows exactly. Many practice in secret. There are probably hundreds. But of course the level and the power of the voodoo yens differ greatly, depending on their training and natural gifts.
Tell me anything at all.
I haven't always lived in New Orleans. I came here from Kansas as a young woman.
I can't think of anything.
Very well.
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Where'd you get Grimwald?
She belonged to a traveling reptile show. She was being terribly mistreated, so I offered to buy her. She's named after a spirit guide I had once. The spirit Grimwald was a very powerful female snake priestess in Egyptian times.
Grimwald doesn't sound Egyptian.
I only know what the spirits tell me. Monsieur, I am sure they know better than we.
How'd you learn to handle Grimwald?
I told you a great voodoo queen taught me. She learned from Marie Laveau herself.
Ah, fascinating. Would you consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
No, I couldn't do that. You might do some gree-gree of your own, no? One must be very careful with such things. Hair clippings, nail parings, and snake scales.
How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be swell.
I won't make you wait, Monsieur Knight. No matter what you see, do not be frightened.
I'll give it my best shot.
Gabriel grabs the shed snake skin while Magenta is otherwise occupied.
There. Truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it.
Gabriel magnifies the shed skin from Magentia, Moonbeam's snake. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain.
Could I ask you a few more questions?
Certainly.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
All right. Here's an old one. Take a lodestone and some brimstone to a crossroads at midnight. Light the brimstone with a match, and a spirit will come and give you advice in gambling.
Do these symbols mean anything to you?
Oh, the voodoo code. It is very secret, yes. I studied it with my mentor, the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Great. Can you tell me what it says?
Let's see. Well, some of it is nonsense, I'm afraid. Whoever wrote this wasn't very good.
That's all right. Just tell me what it says.
It starts with a D and a J, and then... Okay, this part makes sense. It says, conclave tonight, bring... then there's more nonsense. F-W-E-T-K-A-S-H. Well, that last bit might mean cash. Fresh cash? It doesn't make much sense.
That's okay, thanks. DJ Conclave, K-A-S-H. It's a start.
I'm happy I could help.
The letter is... Gabriel looks fondly.
Does this mean anything to you?
I can be of no help to you, Seeker.
Well, I guess I'll be going now.
May the protection of the snake god go with you.
Thanks. Hey, Grace. Here I am.
The excitement of seeing you is killing me.
I don't even want to think about what you mean. Don't mind if I do.
Do what?
Oh, nothing. If wishes were ponies. Move that wall of ice. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you know what Cabrit Sans Cor means?
No. Sounds French, though.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I'd really rather not hear about your sex life, Knight.
Do you have messages for me?
Nope. None right now.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure. What?
I need you to look up a Madame Cazeneuve.
Madame Cazeneuve? Is she related to the murders the same way your friend, Malia Gedde, was?
Grace, Cazeneuve's at least 70.
As if that makes a difference to you. Okay, I'll see what I can find. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. It's time to close shop.
So it is. Have a nice night.
You too. See you tomorrow.